My name is Seung Bang from Yonsei University in South Korea. I am a master course student in public health. Today I would like to present regarding improvement of regional center for mental health in Seoul metropolitan city, a comparative and institutional study on the case of Australia. Our team is me and Professor Soon Kim and Professor Dong Lee. This is consent. South Korea's Mental Health Act was enacted in 1995. This act expanded the number of national mental hospitals and community mental health centers with the goal of making mental health care more accessible to communities. But this act made involuntary hospitalizations significantly easier. To protect the individual rights and liberties of those admitted to inpatient mental hospitals, the Mental Health Act was amended in 2017. This is act stricter qualifications in involuntary psychiatric admissions. After 30th of May 2017, the Act on the Improvement of Mental Health and the Support for Welfare Services for Mental Patients, here in April referred to as the Mental Health Welfare Act, is in operation. As a result, the influx of psychiatric patients into the community is expected to increase, and it is imperative to prepare countermeasures at the level of local governments and central administrative agencies. Also, South Korea's mental health system and community is not prepared to treat these mentally ill people. South Korea's mental health service utilization is low compared with other countries, and duration of untreated psychosis (DUP) is long compared with other countries. Low rates of mental health service utilization: US 39.2%, Australia 34.7%, New Zealand 38.9%, Korea is low, 15.0%. Delayed detection of psychosis, UK is 30 weeks and US 52 weeks, but Korea 84 weeks. Most psychiatric patients discharged from the hospital are managed by workers of the Mental Health Welfare Center. But mental health welfare center workers are under heavy work, including emotional labor, and mental health labor unions stroked due to unstable employment. Therefore, research is needed to improve employment, stability, and environment of center workers. For the method, first we studied literature review, both article and a report about South Korea's mental health. Also derived and applied implications through grasping overseas advanced cases, especially comparing South Korea with Australia. And we have conducted focus group interview with some mental health welfare center workers. Also, we conducted focus group interview with public officers in Seoul metropolitan city who are in charge of the mental health test. Figure out the necessity of improvement based on analysis from the interview with related agencies and expert consultation. As a result, We suggest improvement plan for mental health welfare center employment. First, change of employment type is required. It is necessary to change the employment so that the employment can be done in the form of full-time employment rather than the current contracted employment. In addition, it is necessary to expansion of employment in order to overcome excessive workload. Second, service standardization is required. In Australia, specialized services are provided through differentiation of functions. However, in South Korea, service standardization has not been performed, resulting in a difference in services provided for each region. If the workforce is organized in such a way that it is dedicated to the task through differentiation of functions, it can be operated effectively in terms of service provision. Also, we suggest improvement plan for mental health welfare center working environment. Due to the shortage of human resources, mental health welfare center worker has been doing home visit alone. So it is vulnerable to risks such as assault. The need to prioritize worker safety system ensure ever considered. To avoid with the crisis situation, it is necessary to construct a set of 2 people in home visit. In conclusion, this study suggests ways to improve the employment stability and the environment of workers at the Seoul Mental Health Welfare Center. In the case of employment stabilization, the current employment instability will continue unless discussions are made based on the assumption of full-time employment. Also, in case of improvement of working environment, safety of workers should be considered as top priority. Although it is not possible to prevent acting out from occurring due to the characteristics of the mentally ill person, it is believed that it will prevent workers from being exposed to unprotected risk through the team home visit system. Thank you for your attention.
So now open for comments and questions. Who would like to start?
On your first point, I would just like to ask, based on your observations, what are your insights on the top 3 barriers on the low utilization of mental health services in Korea?
You mean the
Yes, the low utilization, barriers,
Barriers.
challenges, welfare.
Can you speak the question again?
Can you say that question? Can you explain what those barriers So, yeah, the barriers to utilisation you spoke about. Why health services so poorly utilised in South Korea?
I think maybe the stigma is the priority the problem. So when we ill mentally illness, we don't go to the hospital or the mental center because other people says you are the psychiatric patients because of the stigma. So they don't use the mental health service.
Yeah, still on the same slide. Your data says like Korea utilization of the health services is 15%. Does that indicate there are less people who require mental health services in Korea, or it is just an indication of rate of utilization?
Are there lower levels of mental illness in South Korea, for example, or is it a failure of the system? Is it?
It just represents the rate of health service utilization.
Would you like to expand? So the question is still on why there are such low levels of utilisation in South Korea. In Australia over many years, there's been a pressure for deinstitutionalisation of mental health, so that people with mental health problems are not managed in hospitals or institutions, but in the community. Is there a similar process in South Korea? Emphasis on community, treating people in the community rather than in hospitals.
Yeah, Korean patients are hiding their mental illness because of the stigmatization.
Due to stigma?
Yeah.
Stigma?
Yeah.
Because he already explained his situation, I think, in his first answer. Because in Korea, culturally, if you are mentally ill, it becomes really serious stigma. So even though you have problems, you are very much reluctant of going to the hospital if you have mentally ill. And if you have other physical problems, because we have quite nice and healthy insurance, and you are free to go to any department in hospital. But a lot of people, most people, are very much reluctant going there. But according to your question, and I don't think we have a community-based mental illness hospital service instead of the regular hospitals. Yeah. But I totally agree with his answer that Koreans are still suffering from the kind of the cultural stigma and cultural bias against the mentally ill.
I would like to look at in these issues. So if we want to achieve universal health coverage, what are the policy decisions to increase the hospital mental health patient to attend the hospital? What are the policy issues? What government should take initiative to increase the utilization of mental health in this regard?
Would you like to explain to him what the question is?
Because I'm not in this field, so I'm not quite sure whether I can answer your question correctly. But anyway, and I had a student who was mentally ill, so I went to the hospital to take care of her. But the doctor was interested in giving her just medicine instead of giving long process of the psychiatric treatment, because the doctors are paid based on the numbers of patients, as far as I know. I may be wrong. So you cannot take enough time to treat your patients, especially in mentally ill cases.
Okay, thank you. So the problems are obviously very complex with multiple dimensions. I think we'll move on to the last talk. So can we thank Sanju for his presentation? And the last talk is Ravichandran Murthy from Malaysia, whose talk is entitled Water Ethics and Environmental Sustainability in the Lower Mekong River Basin. Ms. Ravi, do you have yours?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Bob. I'm the last presenter for this session, so I only have 10 minutes. Ethics. So I will introduce the first speakers. Professor Lasper from Bangladesh. He will introduce the Ethics Committee. Boss, let's welcome Professor Lasper.
In Korea, the annual our study group activity is mainly two. One is Global New Ethics Summit. It is work with the Emory University and with the Korean Institute of Neuroscience. Another activity is a Bioethics workshop. It is by the Bioethics study group in Korea. Bioethics study group is have a very short activity. We just started from last year. This year is the second year. Bioethics study group. We started last year. It's supported by Korean Brain Institute, and the government support is the Ministry of Science and Technology. We handle the international issue with the OECD and UN and domestic ethical problem. We also consult the domestic political and effective the ethical issue. This year we select 3 items about the bioethics. One is the brain organoid issue. The neuroscientist developed the mini brain recently, but that contains many ethical issues and future arguing issues, I think. I don't know about the mini brain can think or suffering the pain. Yeah. I don't know about that, but if this organoid have a pain about like us, some ethicists insist that this is life. The second issue is the body transplantation issue. This man, the Italian neurosurgeon, insists the cross transplantation with head and the body, from each other. The so-called Gemini project. But it is it have many ethical problems and law problems in Korea, and it deceived the people at the rear. So we discussed about that. The third issue is artificial intelligence and brain-machine interface. Like a movie, we can interrupt by the internet communication skill. What we do, what we can, what we see is depend on the machine. Can be. So this third issue is this year issue we discussed. We have some questions about that. For example, what is motivation of neuroscience development? Second is who drives the neuroethics development? The third is what is the role of neuroethics or neuroethicists? This is, in my opinion, the role of neuroethics in about the neurotechnical development. One is prediction, the expectation about what happens in future. Second is preparation, the law and the social damage and more individual harmful. The third is protection. Actually, the individual or society both. There is many international brain initiative program now. The Korea also have brain initiative. The Japan, China, the Australia, Europe, and Canadian, and US. Almost developed country have a brain initiative program and already started. In Korea, there is some the brain research infrastructure. I introduced some of them. First is the Korean Brain Research Institute. It located at the Daegu City. It is also supported by the Ministry of Science and Technology. It is big building and many people are working here. Second is the Korea Brain Bank Network and for project. There is some brain bank in each main prefecture in Korea. I'm also one of them. I learned the Gangwon province prefecture, the brain bank. Seoul area, Gangwon area, and Daegu area, Busan area. So each prefecture have a brain bank. The brain research infra is biobank. it is supported by the Ministry of Health and Welfare. It is different from brain banking system. It also have another different separated law from brain bank. So it has huge infra and facilities in Korea, especially in Osong, the biocomplex city. It collected many people, about 0.8 million people, the blood and CSF or the tissue from living donor. It is a 17-branch biobank in Korea. Let me see the legal system about brain research infra. The representative act is the Brain Research Promotion Act. It enacted from 1998. Another act is Bioethics and Safety Act. It is enacted from 2005. Bioethics and Safety Act support the biobank, and Neuroscience Promotion Act support brain bank in Korea. It is the word from the International Bioethics Society meeting in this year in San Diego. The cutting-edge neuroscience / cutting-edge bioethics. It means the neuroethic department, neuroethic division must prepare about the neuroscience development. Last year we hold the GNS meeting in Daegu City. We published this year the neuron paper and about what we discussed the last year. This table is the representative question about the neuroethics. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Liu.
In terms of the affiliations or backgrounds of people who are affiliated or who are working in neuroethics topics in Korea, are they mainly doctors? Are they mainly philosophers? And also, where are they affiliated? Are they affiliated mainly with the universities, or are there also people at the Brain Institute itself who are working on neuroethics projects? Thank you.
Actually, in Korea, there is no specialist in neuroethics. So we gather the member from the basically bioethicists, and I am the pathologist.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for the great presentation. For biobank, you have a very, I think very excellent biobank system. Could you share how the organization of the biobank, is it under Ministry of Health, or this is because you have 17 branches, this is belong to the faculty or hospital? Thank you.
Basically, the biobank system is ruled by government. They support the regional hospital. The biobank contained in the hospital. For example, the regional hospital.
So who is coordinating the biobank, National Korean Biobank? Is it Minister of Health, or this is a certain institution which are leading in this system?
No leading system. The main central bank have the government have a central bank system in Osong City. They deal each regional bank, but not enforce, just manage.
Yeah. Thank you for your very comprehensive introduction. And also, I think that I just wondering that what is your strategic position for your center, especially your study team on neuroethics? Because you are integrate three major data. The first is from definitely, just like you mentioned, the biobanking, and the secondary is a brain bank, which is kind of a tissue bank or even like organ bank. But the third part is deal with any kind of intervention, even clinical trial, along with practice. So then, in such a kind of position, all the regulations come from different parties. So what's your central role in facilitating the neuroethics in your country?
Well, I don't know. I can understand what you say, but I have dual function about that. Yeah, I'm dual ethicist and the ruling, the chairman of Biobank.
Okay, so that's the way you integrate with each other. And how about would you serve a function to regulate any cutting-edge research in brain or any stem cell something like that?
I'm also studying.
Okay, so you have a mixed function. Okay, thank you.
It is the beginning time in Korea. There is a no specialist.
I see.
Yeah.
Yes.
We work the separate function.
Okay, so you were learning by doing. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, seems that you already work in a translational approach from basic to clinical application. Do you have any translational ethics that have been established in these activities?
Some neuroscientists want to receive the brain tissue from brain bank. They have concern about that. They can violate some law against the law and the ethical issue.
What I mean is, of course, it's complied to the law and regulation, but translational ethic board that put an umbrella for the activities at the experts, researchers, and clinicians, any other side in the patients, as well as because it's now transplantation has been kind of markets oriented and more maybe something what do you call it, maybe something profitable. So is there any kind of ethical committee that have been developed?
In Korea, there is each institute must have the institutional review order already established in Korea more than 10 years ago. The Bioethics committee, we did not decide about that. We joined the previously establishment system, or we established newly. I don't know. We cannot decide this time.
Thank you for a nice presentation. You are thinking biobank will be contribute more in health issues, research, everything, okay? But how do you thinking about potential legal or ethical issues near future, and how can you protect the data security and related issues in the future? What is your planning regarding these issues?
The brain bank must protect each keeper's, each donor's data. That is ethical. So we enforce and we must establish how to protect the data and how to protect the donor's life. That is the main issue of the banking system.
Okay, I would like to add some comment because I'm involved in bioethics research with him, and we have three objectives of the brain project and one is multiple brain mapping using post-mortem human brain. So I think that is related to the brain bank. And second is functional brain mapping using fMRI. And third is brain-computer interface. We have three institutions related to the neuroscience in Korea. And one is Korea Brain Research Institute in Daegu, and the other is in Seoul National University and in KAIST. So therefore we divide each role on each institution's objective. And as in neuroethics regulation, as he said, we have several institutional review board, but we have a bioethics law, but it covers only the bioethics of cloning and embryo research and using human material research. So we would like to expand the role by initiating the National Bioethics Committee under the Department of Ministry of Science and ICT. That is Korean situation now, and if you have more questions, please contact me or contact us after the session. Thank you very much.
I recognize you, the Professor John became the national model in this event, newly. Thank you for this.
And thank you, the echo. Thank you. Next speaker is from Taiwan, Ms. Xu Cui-wen. She is Executive Secretary of IRB, the Medical Ethics Committee of Kasei General Hospital. Kasei General Hospital is a huge private hospital in Taipei.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I come from Taiwan, Kasei General Hospital. Today I will present. The topic is the explore the ethical dilemma of PSDA practice from HPCA and its clinical experience. This is my online. The patient safety determinant aid PSDA was passed on the January 2016 and the public discourse. And This act shall come into effect and implement its promulgation on January 2019. This act is stipulated to respect patient autonomy in healthcare, to safeguard their right to good days, and to promote harmony physician-patient relationship. Hospice Palliative Care Act was announced in 2002 in Taiwan and have 3-time amendment. HPCA is specifically stipulated to respect terminal year patients while on medical treatment and to protect their rights. So we can look the PSTA characteristic. The main characteristic, patients have a right to choose their medical care when encounter the terminal medical condition as the ideal patient center. Apply rating and sign statement expressing the rating of the person to accept or refuse life substance treatment, artificial nutrition or hydration, or other type of medical care and good days when he or she is in specific clinical condition. A healthcare agency may terminate the designation at any time in right. The central authority must register a client advance decision in he or her national health insurance IC card. A medical institution or physician shall not be subject to criminal or administrative liability when he or she terminate, withdraw or withhold life sustaining treatment and or artificial nutrition and hydration in accordance with the regulation in this article. There shall be not responsibility of compensation for the damage incurred unless intentional or grossly negligent conduct and the violation of the advance decision of the patient are involved. Should a patient who has made an advance decision meet any one of the following clinical conditions, the medical institution or physician may, in consistency with the advance decision, partially or fully terminate, withdraw, or withhold life sustain treat, artificial nutrition and hydration. First, the patient is terminal years. 2, the patient is in an irreversible coma. 3, the patient is in permanent vegetative status. 4, the patient is suffering from severe dementia. Finally, other disease conditions announced by the central authority then should meet all of the following requirements that the condition or suffering are unbearable, that the disease is incurable, and there are not other appropriate treatment option available given the medical standard at the time of the disease currency. So we comparison between PSTA and the HPCA. So first, you can look at palliative care. Definition: palliative care is supported medical care given to relieve terminal ES patients from the physical, mental, and spiritual well-being to improve their quality. Life-sustaining treatment in terminal ES patients only prolong the process of dying. Transition information consent is a physician-centered but not patient. But you can look the patient safety determination. The person who has received a writing authorization from the client to express he or her wish and behave when he or she is unconscious or unable to clearly express a wish. PSTA is a patient-centered concept and agreed patient medical information choice and decision information consent based on the inviolability of patient and the cornerstone of patient right. And we can follow the palliative care, not cardiopulmonary resuscitation and the life sustain treatment should be complete with the follow. Patient diagnosis as terminal years by 2 physicians. Assign letter of intent is required. However, a letter of intent signed by a minor should obtain the consent of he or her legal representative. When a minor is unable to express he or her will, the legal representative should sign a letter of intent. So the PSDA extend the scope of coverage. The Act also include the following by type of the patient who have signed advance directive. The same patient is terminal years, irreversible coma, PEBS, severe dementia disease listed by the central authority in charge. The patient condition or pain is unbearable. Finally, for those who do not have closely related, a medical advice for the best interest of the terminal years patient will be issued instead after the examination of the hospice palliative care team. But PSDA, a patient has the right to be informed of the diagnosis of he or her disease, treatment option, and the potential effectiveness and the risk therefore. So, the two is most important issue are advanced care plan and the advanced decision making. However, successful promoting of the regular or not in Taiwan is due to the Taiwan culture and the precision, life and the death or death related issue. Ethical dilemma. The regulation purpose is for patients suffering from the pain and the irreparable disease in the future or the current medical care cannot solve it. 2. The provide patient their right to refuse to life-sustaining treatment or choose aggressive care. The Act mainly protects patient right of autonomy from the interference. AD. The person directed is interpreted by opinion appointment of the healthcare agency. In this situation, a person directed is interpreted by a treating service provider and must consider the patient's current wish as well as their known belief and value. 4. The key point and autonomy. So long as death assistance do not violate patient autonomy, our criminal law should not interfere. Advanced direct limitation cannot predict the future lifetime which the people likely to encounter condition. Healthcare providers do not know how much patient understanding about the terminal years and the PSDA. When patient and the family opinion clash, healthcare providers are unable to follow with a living will. Patients do not choose durable part of autonomy. Patient may change her mind over time. This is the advanced direct limitation. So launching the PSDA practice, healthcare staff should be aware first about policy and regulation in order to more actively promote DNR and the PSDA to patient and the family. If the patient and the family know more about DNR and the PSDA, they will be more willing and inclined to fill out the form. Promotion of end-of-life education to public and encourage patients to know more about and more willing to consult hospice care. The lead to early preparation for advanced care plan and the appointment of the healthcare agency. Medical institutions should have the professional provide course about the palliative care and the PSDA. Effective communication and the cooperation are essential. Workshop and the seminar can have the shared experience and assist the medical team reach a consensus. Conclusion and recommendation. The autonomy based on the respect for patient autonomy. Effective community and cooperation is essential to help improve knowledge and enhance trust and mutual relationship. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you. This X was made in 2016, and
I have two just specific questions about the content of the new Act. Are there specific provisions or criteria about how to determine whether the person signing the advance directive has competence to do so? Does the Act actually define a process for deciding on competency? And the second question is it still possible to appoint an enduring power of attorney?
I have my t-shirt at the time.
Yeah, I think I think that you guys are really good, important event. I think that the patient's competence already ensured before this act. And if I'm wrong, please correct me, because he's at that time take a major part in this process. I think that this law is a little bit redundant in the sense that we already have a palliative care. Once we have the patient autonomous law, which means that we should expect so all aspects in medical practice. But apparently, it's limited to terminal care. So in that sense, the competence of the patient has been ensured from previous palliative law. But why we need it? Because physicians still feel uneasy, especially when the patient did not express their will or have any advance directive at hand or on medical record. Then, once they feel insecure, they wanna have a law that with strongly recommend the patient that sign their will or have the family confirm their will beforehand. So that's the purpose for this legislation. So you want to add something? You have to say?
Many healthcare providers get confused about the new implementation in next year.
Yes.
It's a new X. Something to read out.
Thank you for presentation. I have very enjoyed the contents because in Korea, a new law go into effect. The law about withdrawing and withholding life-sustaining treatments in this year, February this year. So, but I've heard about you in this presentation. PSDA in Taiwan is different from Korea in law of Korea because Korea's law is about just foregoing life-sustaining treatments, not including artificial nutrition and water. So the artificial nutrition and water is very controversial issue in Korea. Yeah, because of foregoing artificial water and nutrition is the symbolic meaning to sustain life. What can I say? The last resort to sustain the life. So it's very controversial issue in Korea. So how can in Taiwan the third problem in issue like that? So I'm very wondering about that.
Thank you for your question. The patient write PSDA totally. So he can go to institute consultant, and he may be 2 appointments to physician. and you can write, you can choose what you need, maybe fully, maybe partially. So you can write, you can choose, you can by yourself. The Taiwan law is late.
Okay, I have a question to you. Thank you for your brilliant presentation. Actually, this act is to determine the patient to die.
Yes.
But is it any conflict to religious issue, especially for the Muslim, that is Islamic perspective? I think I should say it is the conflict, there is conflict of interest in Islamic issues because no one can suicide or can die with his or her own way or own will. There should be the death in the natural ways. This is the Islamic perspective. So I think in the Muslim countries, this kind of acts cannot be passed. Thank you.
Yeah, but we think that even for Buddhism country or under the Christian belief, we also think that the nature days is our final truth. But the problem is that, and there is so many artificial technology, even dead body, we can make it like living. That will be a nature. So such a kind of regulation is one to empower people's nature's life free from any artificial intervention. So that's the what we believe behind the regulation. And secondly, I think that the Korean friends, the question is excellent, which is carrying very heavy symbolic meanings along the line, especially the nutrition supply, etc. So, in that sense, even medical profession, they don't like to take the meaning away by themselves without any legal protection. So that's the reason we not only have the palliative law, I think that based upon the international comparison, the good days definition and with the legal foundation to support good days, Taiwan is #1 in Asia. But even now, we feel it's sufficient, so we have a patient self-determining act, but with a very limited perspective. In such a way, you can see that we really share a very similar pattern. We are hesitant to take such a sensitive issue by individual way or just by professional autonomy. So that's the story behind it. Thank you.
In the state of Victoria, in Australia, that I come from, an act has just passed last year called the Voluntary Assisted Dying Act, which provides in very limited circumstances for provision of it's a version of assisted suicide. Is there any prospect of an act of that sort in Taiwan?
See, in fact, I think that it's inevitable truth that we have to face. But even now, it's a taboo in Taiwan, so there is no way to discuss it. But we did something very passive, but there is no active voice. So, yeah, it's still something. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll discuss later. Thank you. Okay, next speaker. Okay, next speaker is Professor Sophia Moparica. Professor Moparica from Yamada. Yamada University. Okay. University. Yogyakarta, Indonesia.
Good afternoon, everybody. If you may not get finished, you may not have visited our university. This is one of the pictures of Faculty of Medicine. Sorry. This is our Faculty of Medicine, and this is our university, and this is when Professor Yati awarded as a Doctor Honoris Causa at Melbourne University that brought her the translational research on rotavirus vaccine. I was also there. This is the director of the hospital, the rector, the dean, and the attaché of education of the Australia, Prof. Yati and Professor Sunanto. So, on behalf of the team, I would like to present this ethical issue on cancer translational research post-genomic era. So, post-genomic era, unavoidable, we should ready to be personalized medicine. So, medical practice, doctor or health professional, they use individual genome of the patient. And a lot of research, a lot of publications have shown that there are many promising approaches for cancer treatment. And this is about microRNA combination with chemotherapy. Why this I took? Because I will tell it about our experience in doing this microRNA on cancer to better diagnostic and also go to therapeutic targeted. And for this, of course, we come to the translational research that we think and we also agree that this needs a new bioethic approach. And we will also learn how can we make a good partnership with patient in long-term approach. So there are many ethical issues and challenges, of course, will be arise. So this is the picture, this is the microRNA that will be discussed soon. So my outline is about the personalized medicine. This is very personal according to the genetic background, and then we'll develop targeted therapy, and we need approach of next generation sequencing, and this will give a lot of ethical issues soon. And then we know that cancer is very difficult to be cured. The problem is recurrence and resistance because cancer is heterogeneous. And then we will learn about what the Laboratory of Medical Ethics in University of Paris developed the translational ethics there. And then we will lesson learn from our cancer translational research at UGM and what it should do. So cancer is heterogeneous because if we do biopsy and cutting from as a bread loaf, we cannot actually give the best diagnosis because in every slice, the mutation might be different with other slides because there are some heterogeneity, spatial, but as well as temporal. So now people move to liquid biopsy. The liquid biopsy gives more promising for diagnosis because it will give you the answer of the heterogeneity. So we also approaching using the liquid biopsy. So personalized medicine is the tailoring of medical treatment to the individual characteristic of each patient. It's not only depend on the genome that will showing the phenotype, but also the expression and the part of the non-coding, the non-regulatory part of the genome. So in cancer, a lot of publications showing the chemoresistance that increasing from year to year, and in fact that right now, clinicians give clinical diagnostic, same diagnosis, and give same prescription, but different response. So according to the personalized and genetic background, it should be personalized approach, not one size fits all, but should be tailor-made. And NGS will give a lot of benefit for the healthcare. Okay, so the innovation gives us rise of ethical problems because personalized medicine needs advanced methodology, next generation sequencing, and the consequence is blurring the research and the clinical service. So let's learn from the Laboratory of Ethical Medicine at University of Paris, Marmser and all, doing empirical and ethical research action. It has been published in Journal of Translational Medicine 2017. I think ethical issue have been discussed by Prof. Yati. So the conclusion is that ethics and translational research should go beyond the classical topics of research ethics or medical ethics. And it should not only analyze the ethical issue that can be directly derived from the translational phases, but also those derived from the gaps between translational phases, but also transfer of knowledge and translational research person. So many potential issues that are really arise from this translational research. So what Marmers and colleagues do is they develop what they call it CARPAN, Cancer Research Personalized Medicine. They develop also consortium, French consortium for cancer personalized medicine that has been certified in 2013. And the aim is to perform innovative and efficient translational research to stimulate data sharing and collaboration that always difficult on this. Sometimes we face a lot of problems in the data sharing and collaboration among researchers, basic clinical and among others them. And then also to accelerate translation of biomedical research to therapeutic application to benefit patients. We learned from Prof. Yati that to be implemented, the vaccine took 45 years. So maybe using, by developing this kind of dialogue, the good communicative dialogue, the process for translational research to be implemented will be shorter. So they develop what they call a group of expert committee and group of patient committee to have a dialogue, ethical mediation. So the expert committee consists of practitioner researchers disseminating aim of cancer translational research, personalized medicine. And then for the patient committee consists of forum of exchange communication between patients, advisory committee, and also a body to provide recommendation. They do two kind of research, two scientific translational, complementary approach of genomic and cellular, and then one empirical ethical program from the patient. And the result is that the empirical ethical research based on patient-centered approach help establishing a model to coordinate better coordination and support action during cancer research. And there is a balance between the regulatory framework, researchers' need, and patient expectation. So far maybe patient expectation is not yet being considered so far. So the recommendation from the research is translational research require translational ethics, because the concept of translational ethics is to handle the main remaining gaps between continuing care, research in the medical pathway, and the existing framework. And the expert committee and patient committee then become advisory translational research ethic boards that build a common knowledge, addressing complexity, preparing leaflet, and then consent from about the use of data and sample. A little bit about current situation at our university, our faculty of medicine. So this is the cancer translational research that we have. Consists of several groups of breast cancer, nasopharynx, hepatocellular, prostate, ovary, lung cancer, and so on. And we do profiling of those cancer using tissue, and then we test the validation of microRNA, because microRNA is a small non-coding RNA that regulates the protein expression. And we use blood, plasma, or serum, and also we use urine to test for validation. And those, because those are contain exosome in blood and urine, and exosome is a kind of very nano molecules that have a function as a cell communication, stable, and considered as ideal biomarkers. This is the function of microRNA. They regulate both physiology as well as in pathological. So microRNA taken as per our research study. So we do a lot of profiling from this cancer tissue, and then using microarray, and then we got in 3 days we got about 800 of genes of microRNA, and we do testing the p-value overexpressed and underexpressed, and then we do a clinical validation from the blood or from the urine. This is the result of this the study, and we also can find the mechanism of pathological mechanism using in silico study, and then signaling pathway from the 10 hallmarks of cancer, and also we try to get the predicted target therapy. So we actually have moving from basic to personalized medicine right now, because we already start at the end of in vitro study to targeted therapy using in vitro culture. So actually the ethical problems should be addressed is at the group of translational research and the expert consists of biomedical researchers, oncologists, pathologists, oncologists, and so on, to discuss about everything, about activities, about publication, about authorship, about samples, and also of the patient that we have experience for the nasopharyngeal cancer, but not yet in this regard. That expectation of the patient should be considered, also industry, because they also have their something commercial. And thanks that I now belong to the also part of the Center of Bioethics and Medical Humanities, and we will together with the center will develop the committee to be able to make facilitate the translational cancer research at our university, because we already got a lot of genomic data, data that are now available. So we think that in the future we have a cancer translational research personalized vaccine that will make the best of the patient, the best for the research, and the best for the education. So the take-home message to support, how to support the cancer translational research. Of course, we should also learn from the Laboratory of Ethical Medicine. We should develop advisory translational research ethical board, and then of course this will handle. And then the question is how to start and consortium on cancer of research. Is it possible to be developed? So the question is, I think we should do it. And we invite the question and comments. Thank you very much.
So the next. Okay. Lots of topics about NGS, microRNA, translation medicine, blah blah blah.
Thank you, that was a fantastic talk. These are very advanced and very expensive technologies, and it's very likely, certainly if the current patterns have continued, that the therapies are going to be very expensive too, especially if we're going to require a different biological for every cancer variant within even common tumours. I wonder if you'd reflect on that question about the potential availability of these therapies in a country, could be Australia, but in a country like Indonesia, where presumably it would be available only to a very small number of very rich people.
Yeah, this is the most difficult question to be answered. Right now, of course, the insurance also covered specifically for cancer. They already gave the targeted therapy for the patients. But as have been stated by the director of NIH, that even though, for example, TNBC, triple negative breast cancer, given this is the most aggressive, but actually very sensitive to targeted therapy, but very easily to be relapsed. This is not even the targeted therapy given, but no good response. The very short time will be relapsed. So the answer is, we try to develop now, and paper already a lot of application showing the combination therapy using microRNA and chemotherapy. This show a very good, because one microRNA can target 100 of mRNA targets. So this become very promising for the future. So many papers now in 2017-18 showing the combination of this, and already in the patent, the process of patent. So hopefully it's not expensive, because we are using also now we developing the in vitro study using the upregulated, most upregulated we took in a ketosan, and the downregulated as we replace and we put in the tumor cells line, and it works. It can be delivered in the cells. So we are doing soon for in vivo study. So we have collaboration also with several institutions in UK and also in Manchester. So we optimistic that it will be good some there, but maybe it takes still some time. Yeah. And it was calculated already, it's not that expensive. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next speaker is John Noel Vienna from University of Tasmania. John, repeat.
So good afternoon, everyone. My presentation is entitled Clinical Trials of Invasive New Technology in Sport Dementia and Asian Perspective. And I'm based at the University of Tasmania in Australia, and I would also like to thank Fondation Locher in Geneva, wherein part of this work was undertaken. So dementia is a condition that actually affects 47 million people worldwide, and the total economic burden of this condition is $605 billion US dollars. So it's a really big problem, and if you are greater than 65, there is a 1 out of 10 chance that you'll actually have dementia. And this condition actually affects people all over the world, both in the East and in the Western countries. And in the Asia Pacific region alone, 23 million people, or almost half of the global prevalence, are affected, and it actually incurs a total cost of 184 billion US dollars. And the most common form of dementia is actually Alzheimer's disease, that is characterized by the presence or the pathological findings of neurofibrillary tangles and amyloid plaques in the brain, which actually lead to a decrease in the volume or shrinkage of the cortex and of the hippocampus, which are areas important in a lot of cognitive functions. So people often associate Alzheimer's disease with problems in memory, but then we also need to acknowledge that Alzheimer's disease also affects a wide range of cognitive functions, which include language, reasoning, personality, executive function, and visual-spatial abilities. And considering there is currently no cure for Alzheimer's disease, and all the therapies only provide temporary benefits, so there is a push to investigate novel modalities to address this disorder. And a lot of technologies being investigated are very invasive in nature, which include gene therapy, stem cell implantation, and deep brain stimulation. And currently, using the Clinical Trials Gov database, we can see that there are 34 studies all over the world that use these 3 invasive technologies for people with dementia. And looking at the number of people that have been enrolled all throughout the years, there are actually 964 people with dementia who are been enrolled in this novel, invasive, and potentially risky interventions. So for this talk, I would focus on these 2, stem cell implantation and deep brain stimulation. So deep brain stimulation is a technology wherein electrodes are implanted deep into the brain or into the region of interest. And then, as you can see here on this one, so it's implanted in the brain region of interest, and then there is an electrode that actually connects to the collarbone, which provides the current to these electrodes. And the purpose of this intervention is to actually correct pathological firing in the brain region of interest. So deep brain stimulation is a technique that is actually commonly implemented in people with Parkinson's disease, with tremor and dystonia. It has FDA approval for these conditions. And in Europe, for instance, this also has approval for epilepsy. And of course, CBS for Alzheimer's disease, there are several trials and even several publications already being done in the US, in Canada, and Germany and in France into medications which are the fornix, which is a connection from the hippocampus to the hypothalamus, and the NPM, which is a major cholinergic source of neurons in the brain. And currently there are actually several clinical trials of these technologies being done in Asian countries, particularly in China. So these trials recruit people who are, one of the trials recruited people who are just in early stage of Alzheimer's disease because they have a clinical dementia rating of 0.5 to 1.0 or a mini-mental state exam score of 20 to 28. So 30 is the highest score, and the higher score you have, the better you are. So the lower your score is, the more cognitive impairment you actually have. However, some of the trials actually recruited people with moderate dementia because they had a clinical dementia rating score of 2.0. And interestingly, one trial actually recruited people with severe Alzheimer's disease and actually opened their recruitment to people with even an MMSE score of 0 points. So meaning these people are already do not have proper or cognitive function. And another technology is stem cell implantation, where the stem cells are actually harvested from the umbilical cord, and then what happens is that you actually extract them, and then they are processed to isolate the mesenchymal stem cells, and then they're actually sold. So there are actually, again, several clinical trials being done in Asian countries, a lot in China, but also in South Korea.
So in China, they also again recruited people with an NLS score of like below 10. So people with severe Alzheimer's disease are being recruited. And in Korea, they have recruited people with moderate to mild Alzheimer's disease. So I'll just focus on one article that has already been published. So a lot of these studies, they do not have published results yet. And these actually enrolled 9 people with Alzheimer's disease, and this was done in Korea, in South Korea. So in this study, actually, apparently, so they injected in the precuneus and the hippocampus regions in the brain and developed the pathological hallmarks first. And as you can see in this region, so those people who actually receive a higher dose of stem cells seem to have lesser cognitive decline than those who actually just receive a lower concentration of the stem cells. However, their conclusion is that in the participants in this study, the rate of cognitive decline is actually much, much faster than for normal people with Alzheimer's disease. So as you can see, it was like there was a dramatic drop in the cognitive scores compared to those with Alzheimer's who just normally progress and are not enrolled in the trial, but they say that this is due to the enrollment of people with early onset Alzheimer's disease, and it also raises additional issues which we have in one paper if you want to explore more. However, for the purpose of this talk, I want to talk more about the ethics from an Asian perspective and what are the considerations that we actually have to think about when we conduct these trials, also from the familial perspective, but also from the research ethics board perspective. Of course, the participant selection is a very important thing, and as I mentioned, people with severe dementia have actually been enrolled in this trial. So what is the rationale for such? If the goal of deep brain stimulation is to stimulate areas in the brain where there are remaining fibers, or if the goal of stem cell implantation is to actually provide support for regions in the brain that have integrated. So if there is no more fibers or not much stem cell or cells left, then what is the goal of recruiting people who have severe Alzheimer's disease? And the second point is that these people have the least capacity to consent among all people with Alzheimer's disease, because when you have an NMSE score below 10, then you already have severe cognitive impairment. So of course, it's very, very, very difficult to actually make these people understand the nature of the intervention, because these are very complicated interventions, but also to gain even like assent to participate in these trials. The second point is informed consent, which should not just be a piece of paper. Informed consent should be a procedure that has to be continuously assessed or obtained all throughout the trial stages. And of course, as mentioned in an earlier talk, in a lot of Asian countries, there is a big case of paternalism. The doctor just saying to the patient what he or she wants to do. So there is a genuine conflict of interest when the doctor is also the researcher. So you know what happens in this case? So we recommend definitely that the researcher should hopefully not be also the attending physician, because sometimes patients would think that, oh, if I did not participate in this trial, then my standard of care would actually be withheld, or I might not receive the proper treatment. And of course, it's important potentially that there should be a third party gaining the consent of the person, because when there is a doctor who actually gets the informed consent, then there is a power imbalance, and this could induce undue coercion to the patient to actually enroll in the trial when he or she otherwise might not participate in, because of course you are afraid that your standard of care might be withheld. And of course, it's important that in Asian culture, the role of the family is very important, and of course, what is the role of family in decision making? A lot of the studies that have been published are done in Western countries where there is more individualistic autonomy. So, but in Asian culture, the family plays a big role in decision making. So we would argue that, for instance, and then there are a lot of ethical questions that arise. So in some Asian cultures, for instance, it is the spouse that should give the consent, or that should have the support in decision making. But what happens when the spouse also has cognitive impairment? So that is a big issue, because in order to pursue the trial, then you have to have adequate decision-making capacity. So who would give next? Should it be the eldest son? But then what happens in a case where the main caretaker, for instance, is the eldest daughter, and the eldest son lives 500 kilometers away, or it's a different country? So should the eldest son still be the one to actually make decisions regarding trial participation? So it's important that we acknowledge the role of the family in the decision making to participate in trials, especially in these trials that have a really invasive nature and that are very risky in their procedure. So, because in Asia there's a lot more collective individual autonomy. And finally, if you look at your neighbors around you, we should acknowledge that Asia is a very diverse region. We have different looks, we're widespread geographically, and sometimes even within Asian countries, like people might have different values, systems, and beliefs and priorities. So it's important to acknowledge that what might be useful for one country might not be entirely translatable to another Asian country. So we have to acknowledge the nuances and the potential peculiarities in each Asian country when we start adopting frameworks from other countries to our own country. And finally, we need to acknowledge that people with dementia are vulnerable because of the effects of the disease and also because of their very limited ability to consent. So it is our goal as bioethicists and of the research ethics committees to actually ensure that clinical trials are done in a way that have sufficient scientific rationality and the protocols actually enroll patients or participants who must be least harmed and who have a direct prospect of benefit from trial participation. Maraming salamat sa pakikinig, which is in Filipino. Thanks for listening. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, you have any questions?
Thank you for a nice presentation. I'd like to know that, what are the limitations of your work, of your research work? Can you give me some limitation of your work you encounter?
Yeah, definitely, because a lot of my work, or as I'm doing my PhD in Australia, these kinds of interventions are not being made currently. So no one is actually doing deep brain stimulation or cell therapy trials in Australia. So a lot of my work is just based on reading literature, and so I did not have direct contact with the patients themselves because they're in Canada or in the US or in France or in Germany. So I think that perspective is actually missing, and I think that's what's really important in bioethics, that we just do not actually just read literature, but we actually try to really directly engage with those people who might have been subjected to these trials to understand what is a decision-making procedure and how can we best support them, not just in participation, but also throughout the trial, because the effects of these interventions extend. They affect the daily lives, not just of the person, but also of the family. So yeah, that's what I'm lacking, is empirical data directly, or patient perspectives in terms of how do they see these technologies.
Okay, thank you for the nice presentation. So, I have two questions regarding your presentations. Do you have any control group or other intervention to compare your study findings? One. Another thing is, do you have any data safety monitoring board, independent board to review or monitor your research activities? Data safety monitoring board to review your activities. Another is adverse event. During your study time, if adverse event occurs or any patient dies, what type of measurement you have been taken on the time of the patient regarding this issue? This research is voluntary or any other compensations needed during the inclusion of the study participant?
Thank you. So just to clarify, I'm not part of any of these studies. So what am I just doing is just actually observing these studies and just looking at what ethical issues could arise. So I do not have any direct role or direct affiliation with any of the institutions that are actually doing these studies. But I guess because a lot of these studies that I mentioned that are being done in Korea, except for the one that I showed, and in China, their results have not been published yet. So we really do not have much data on what adverse events arose. And also, unfortunately, that is a limitation as well of a lot of research papers, even for those who have published results in the US and Canada, because in the journal you only have limited space, so you cannot really elaborate on what are the insurance arrangements. But however, I can say that, for instance, in one trial in France, they have an explicit requirement that the patient or the participant actually must have it must be covered by the national insurance system, so that if ever adverse events arise, then they could actually be taken care of and that they would not be unduly harmed. So for the controls, I think it's very important to acknowledge, and what I would say is that when you actually compare the deep brain stimulation trials that are being conducted in China and those that are actually being conducted in the US or in the European Union, the analysis score for those in the US and in other countries is usually 18 to 26. So meaning is that they usually enroll people who have just mild Alzheimer's disease, which is actually a bit alarming when we look at the trials in China. So that's why I was asking, is there a really solid rationale for conducting trials or for actually enrolling people who have severe dementia in these trials? So, and I got just like looking at that, and in addition to that, results of the earlier trials in the US and also like in Germany show that people who actually have earlier dementia have a better prospect of gaining benefit from these trials. So I guess I was comparing that. So finally, sorry, a lot of these trials are just in phase 1, so they actually do not have control groups. Only one trial, which is the follow-up of the phase 1 in the US, is in phase 2, so they actually have the control group. And the setup usually for deep brain stimulation trial is that everyone is being implanted in the brain, and then half of the participants actually receive stimulation for 1 year, and the other half do not receive stimulation. And then after 1 year, everyone gets stimulated. So they are actually comparing the results between the group that did not receive stimulation for 1 year and the group that actually received stimulation for 1 year. So that's basically in some way how they make control groups for these trials.
Okay, excuse me. I am. Can I ask?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Ella and come from Cambodia. Because your presentation very interesting for me, I would like to ask you some questions. The first question I would like to ask you: in your research, do you focus about duration of dementia with the people or not? Like how long that he has dementia, severe or acute, like this or not? And I heard that I saw that your presentation about stem cell therapy. Please you explain more about how to how to treat with stem cell for dementia, because this information is very new for Cambodia. Yeah.
Okay.
And
yes,
more,
please go ahead.
the third question is the dementia. After we use the stem cell therapy, has the complication or not with the patient that we use it, and how long that we use to better for dementia person? Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so for the first question, usually it's like when you look at the eligibility criteria of a lot of these trials, they usually do not specify how long should a person be diagnosed with dementia. Sam just mentioned that you need to be at least 6 months, you need to be receiving cholinergic medication for 6 months. So the main inclusion criteria is really not the duration of dementia or of Alzheimer's disease, but rather your MMSE scores. So we do not really look if you had dementia for 1 year, 3 months. That could vary as well. It's like it depends on when you were diagnosed. So if you were just diagnosed yesterday, it's very difficult to say how long have you had dementia, because it also depends on when you presented to the clinic and say, oh, I have memory problems. So the more important inclusion criteria is actually the cognitive scores of the participants. As regards to your second question, so a lot of the theories of the mode of action of stem cells for dementia is that these stem cells would actually release neurotrophic factors or factors that would actually help support the growth and maintain the function of the remaining neurons in the brain. And some say they could replace the neurons, but usually this is not the case, because of course they have to reintegrate into the circuitry. So the main scientific rationale for them is that you would just put these cells, and these cells would actually release BDNF or nerve growth factor that would help support the brain. And of course that's also like a very tricky thing, because the animal study sometimes might not, and there's a lot of controversy about these that some say it might not work. And finally, of course, it's important to warn people that now that there are a lot of stem cell clinics everywhere, claiming, even in Australia, claiming to actually cure people of everything, from multiple sclerosis to stem cells. And some people say, just inject stem cells into your blood. So not everyone does put stem cells directly in the brain. Some say, I will just inject stem cells into your blood and you will be cured of these diseases. And I think it's very important to acknowledge that, the best scenario would be you would not be cured. But the worst scenario is that you would have an immune reaction to these cells, especially if these cells are actually not from your body. So for the trial in Korea, thankfully no one died from this study, so they said that there were no adverse reactions to the stem cell therapy. But of course, immune reactions are definitely a big issue, or could be a potential issue for this trial.
Thank you. Next.
And of course, there is necessary the informed consent of the patient, also maybe the family. But is it necessary to get the permission of the IRB of the hospital or something like that? And maybe for the DBS treatment, and maybe it's if you know that in Australia, maybe in China, because I'm wondering for the China. So just I don't know if you have the information.
So I think one of the biggest limitations of the clinical trials of Gov database is a lot of these trials do not disclose whether these what is the approval process for these. So it just says that there is this trial, but it doesn't say if it's approved by the IRB and at which level of IRB as well. It doesn't say whether it's just the university IRB that approved it, or whether it's also like the hospital IRB, or whether it's actually a national governing IRB that approved or that gave a green light for this study. So there's currently no data as to what the approval processes were and what were the rationality for them just saying, yes, let's actually do these trials in people with severe dementia. And I think that people here are from China, and I think it's a very interesting topic to actually reflect on and see, how come these studies were actually allowed, and maybe they have data that we don't have that says that oh, this could work in people with severe dementia, but everything is currently not available, at least as far as I know. Thank you.
Okay, last question. In those, you studied 34 papers, right?
Yeah, 34 studies, yeah.
Okay, in those 34 studies, are they explaining about how they obtain the informed consent? Whether they obtain the informed consent after they diagnosed with Alzheimer's or with the dementia disease, or before that? So and the second question is, because this disease, this kind of disease, we can predict, right? So these researchers, they obtain the informed consent before they got the dementia, the patients got the real clinical, showing the clinical dementia. Will you agree with their research? Because their research will be done after they got dementia, right?
Yeah.
So will you agree if the informed consent is obtained before they showing the clinical sign of dementia?
Okay, so for your first question, unfortunately, in a lot of the clinical trials of Gov database, or even in the actual papers, there's really no indication of when exactly did they take the informed consent. So what usually is stated is that we just took the informed consent of the participants, or we took the informed consent of the participants plus another co-decision maker. So there's no information when exactly was the informed consent obtained. And I think it's not just for Alzheimer's disease, but for every other clinical trial. If you go through medical journals that actually do clinical trials, no one really say when was the informed consent obtained. And second, of course, we could have the informed consent before they have dementia, but of course, you need to have a center that has a long-term monitoring. But then there's a potential issue with that because people's preferences change. Once you have a state before you have the conditions, might not necessarily be the exact same opinions, or might not be the exact same feelings as when you already developed dementia. You might be distressed already, and then you could say that, oh, I actually want to have and make an intervention because I'm having this level of distress. So of course we need, but then I'm not saying that we do not have an informed consent, but I'm saying that of course we need to take the informed consent at different stages. So maybe before, and also like exactly before during the trial, we need to also ask for the informed consent, and as well, during the trial as well. So we need to ask, do you still want to participate? And for those who actually might have impaired capacity, then we still need to get their assent, and because it's really important, you know. You can't just say, oh, my grandma is saying, put some electrodes in her. She needs to have assent, and we need to be sensitive on manifestations of dissent. So if the person feels uncomfortable, but he or she could not fully verbalize it, then we need to acknowledge and look deeper if she still wants to be stimulated or still wants to partake in the trial.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, John. You bring speech and thank all the eight colleagues. After the last speaker is Professor Rula from Tajikistan. Okay, Professor Rula now is the head of laboratory of plant genetics, Institute of Botany, Plants, Physiology and Genetics, Tajikistan.
Good afternoon. My name is Firuza Nasirova. Nice to meet you, my colleagues, which we met before during our conferences and workshops on APA and bioethical issues as well. I am working at the Institute of the Botany, Plant Physiology and Genetics. This is the Tajikistan Academy of Sciences. Right now, the laboratory which I am head of is renamed, and the name of this laboratory is Laboratory of Biosafety. And also, I am working as a Vice President of the Tajikistan Bioethics Council and Vice President of ABA for West Region.
There. Oh, there it is.
Can you stand?
So my topic is regarding the biosafety, biosecurity, bioethics, and how it relates to the responsible conduct in life sciences. What I mean is the concept of the culture of biosafety, biosecurity, and DURC. DURC, it means the dual use research consent. Okay. All countries benefit from life sciences research. It has generated the most important biomedical and public health advances in recent decades. The development of state-of-the-art vaccines, drugs, and diagnostics have been possible because of life science research. These advances, however, also present new challenges as good science can be put to bad uses. Gene cloning or copying techniques that have led to new vaccines could be misused to produce a harmful toxin or to increase the virulence of microorganisms capable of infecting humans. Beneficial applications of synthetic biology include the development of new drugs. Misapplication of this discipline could lead to the design of new or modification of existing pathogens as agents of bioterrorism. Much of the knowledge and technologies generated by the legitimate life science research could theoretically have some potential to be misused. DURC, however, comprises a limited subset of all life sciences research. It's been research intended for beneficial purposes, but which might easily be misapplied to the harm. Management of DURC-related risks has been approached in several ways, including research oversight mechanisms, or policies for funding agencies, or international and national regulations and framework, such as International Health Regulation and the Biological and Toxic Weapon Convention, institutional and professional codes of conduct and ethics, and awareness raising and educational initiatives for a range of audiences. The audiences for educational and training are diverse. It means the awareness raising education and training on biosafety, biosecurity and DURC are essential not only for the researchers but also for all sectors and stakeholders. It needs to occur at all levels, on global, national, institutional, and the individual investigator, and incorporate diverse perspectives, including those of foreign ministries, policymakers, and regulators. Training researchers and the students who will become researchers was particularly emphasis. Ethical considerations are fundamental to manage the DURC issues. DURC issues raise ethical questions for a broad range of sectors and stakeholders at different hierarchical level of the governance of science. It relates to individual scientists who must decide what research to conduct and to publish. It relates to research institutions which must decide, among other considerations, how to regulate research within their confines, how to educate their researchers, which laboratory security measures should be in place. It relates to professional societies which must make decisions about the development and or enforcement of codes of conduct and education. And relates to editors and publishers who must make decisions regarding the review and publication of potentially dangerous papers. It relates to national governments which must decide the extent to which important considerations such as review of research and the relevant education of scientists will be mandated. How to bring in the essential stakeholders to formulate sound policies in which DURC can be funded and the extent of which control should be placed on access to potentially dangerous material. And finally, it relates to international organization which must make decisions concerning relevant global policy. The national security, the national policy of Tajikistan, means that the concept of the national security this is the fundamental policy document which enshrines such priorities. The proliferation of nuclear, chemical, biological weapons is one of the important factors determining the nature of threats to the national security of Tajikistan given its geographical location in Central Asia. Geographically, Tajikistan is located in the heart of Central Asia. Such activities are carried out within the framework of international commitments. Thus, according to the UN Security Council Resolution number 1540 on April 24, 2004, it was confirmed that the proliferation of nuclear, chemical, and biological weapons, as well as a means of delivery, constitutes a threat to international peace and security. In accordance with the resolution, all states are obliged, particularly to refrain from providing any form of support to non-state actors who are trying to develop, acquire, manufacture, possess, transport, transfer, or use nuclear, chemical, biological weapons and their means of delivery. States should be take and apply effective measures to establish national controls to prevent the proliferation of nuclear, chemical, biological weapons and their means of delivery, including by establishing proper control over the materials related to them. The government of Tajikistan, the resolution number 54 from February 9 to 2016,
adopt the National Action Plan and the Republic of Tajikistan on implementation of Resolution 1540. I'm an expert of this implementation of the National Action Plan in my country. National Action Plan of the Republic of Tajikistan on implementation of this resolution, it includes the next activities, such as development of legislative and legal framework, practical actions as public awareness, providing seminars, workshops, risk assessment, integrated CBRN anti-terrorist system, response plan, etc. CBRN issues means chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear matters. Training staff development and awareness, development of CBRN training program on export control and non-proliferation of WMD, weapon mass destruction weapon, and include in the program of specialized department of universities of Republic of Tajikistan conducted short-term and long-term courses, the introduction of postgraduate courses and graduate courses, and also the monitoring of this action plan. So, we are a member of the trilateral peer review of the implementation of this resolution, and together with Kyrgyz Republic, Belarus Republic, and Tajikistan, we have agreement and also developed the project to implement this resolution. So you can see we are both, me and my colleague, Dr. Akram Rakhmatov, who were in the Belarus, Minsk. Yes, he is responsible for chemical safety, and we were also participated in this one of this workshop. And also, it was organized in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Belarusian Republic. We developed the regional project on international technical assistance. The title of this project is Strengthening the potential of the parties to peer review combating transboundary movement of nuclear, chemical, biological materials which can be used during the creation of weapon of mass destruction or WMD methods, means of the delivery, improvement of technological infrastructure for timely detection and identification of such materials. So 3 countries, as I mentioned, are participating in this project: Republic of Belarus, Kyrgyz, and Tajikistan. And our responsible partners are OSCE and UNODA. The next activities to implement this National Action Plan was the creation of the Centers of the Biosafety and independent identification expertise of biological substances subject to export control at our institute. And also the Center for the Chemical Safety was established at the Institute of Chemistry, and the head of this center is Dr. Akram Rakhmatov. So the main objectives for creation of this center are to promote the development of national export control system, to improve the process of non-proliferation policy, export control, in order to ensure national and international security. So, on the basis of this establishing identification center, it can be possible to provide technical assistance to civil servants engaged in the licensing issues, customs specialists, who control the movement of goods across the border. So also the next activity was providing the national seminars on public awareness during 2016 in this year, this summer, 2018, under the financial support of OSCE. And also there were some meetings with donors which are supporting our identification center. And last year we have visited, the Tajik delegation have visited the Scientific Center for Preventing Toxicology, Food and Chemical Safety Institute, named after Medved in Kiev, Ukraine. We also developed an educational model on providing the biosafety, biosecurity. Dr. Akhmatov also he developed the educational model on providing the chemical security. So this document or this manual was also under the support of OSCE in Dushanbe and published last year. This model program the main goal was to develop the modern knowledge and skills necessary to ensure biological security and security to prevent acts of bioterrorism. And the main tasks were to improve the professional qualification on biosafety, biosecurity experts according to the international requirements. So this summer we have organized 2 seminars in July and August for the first line response services as custom officers and border troops. It was held in the Regional Training Center on WMD non-proliferation in the framework of the EU project number P53. And also our members of working group on implementation of the National Action Plan developed and submitted to the government of the Republic of Tajikistan the law on ensuring biological safety security in the Republic of Tajikistan under the assistance of VERTI. And regarding the ethic course, learning to use biosafety dual use is a key component in achieving this goal. An ongoing and fruitful dialogue is needed in which the security experts and scientists discuss potential threats arising from research and how they can be reduced, both through responsible research by scientists and through the introduction of reasonable measures by safety experts. This ethics course at the university level is a very important element in the education of scientists. Dual-use bioethics program should be updated annually to incorporate recent policy changes and scientific advances. Right now, I have been in Tashkent. It was conferences which was devoted to the International Day of Bioethics on the 19th of October, and also I have presented this model to our Uzbek colleagues. And the ethical code of life sciences, all individuals and organizations involved in any aspects of life sciences should to carry out their work in such a way that the discoveries and knowledge do not harm. Work for the ethical and beneficial promotion, development and use of scientific knowledge, and attract public attention or authorities to events, including non-ethical studies for which they are all reasonable ground to presume them they contribute to the development of biological terrorism or biological weapons. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice President.
Yeah.
Thank you for your presentation, Frotja. We Eastern countries and Western countries does not have much interest on bioethics or on bioterrorism and biosafety. Do you have any special history background interested in the area of bioterrorism and biosafety?
For example, in Tajikistan, we have some examples of the chemical terrorism. For example, it was, first of all, yes, Tajikistan adopted the resolution of 1540. So we must implement this action plan which was developed to implement this resolution. And you know, our country is located in very specific geographical location, and we have very thin border with Afghanistan. So it is very important thing that many groups or people with the bad ideas get came, and so we should to make a very strong system to prevent such things. What about the nuclear? We have the radiological, we have some the plants during Soviet period, and the wastes from these nuclear plants, they are open in ground, so the environment is polluted, and under the this is a UN commission to decrease the impact of the radiological and nuclear matters. It is worked in Tajikistan, very close with the center, and we are biological center and chemical center. We are the members of this big training center for these severe elements. So for us, it's very important thing, and we are working together with the European and Central Asia and the American government.
Okay, thank you. Your participation. Any question? Or okay, go on. So those panel is finished here, but all the audience stay here for minutes. Next time is much more exciting and wonderful time. Just some agenda for ABC20 in Bangladesh. So have a talk. So I give the floor to chair of. Give the floor to the chair of organizing committee of ABC20.
Good evening. Actually, ABC20 will be is going to organize in Bangladesh in 2019. And this ABC20 will be organized by the Bangladesh Bioethics Society. First, you may have inquisited that where is actually Bangladesh. Some know where is Bangladesh, but some don't know. And what do the Bangladesh Bioethics Society actually? And where is the Bangalore? So we'll show some small video. I request my team, Professor Taslima Mansur, the President of Bangladesh Bioethics Society, and the Professor Shakur, and Dr. Saiful, and Dr. Shakina to come to the dais. First, I'd like to request Dr. Shakur, Professor Shakur to say something about Bangladesh.
Okay, thank you, Professor Shamima, for the nice introduction. First of all, I'd like to thank ABA for giving us the opportunity to be host for the next ABA. I should think about our beautiful Bangladesh. For this purpose, I want to show you a very small video for a beautiful Bangladesh. Please enjoy our beautiful Bangladesh. Please enjoy. Show the video now. Show the first video now.
this is the beautiful Bangladesh. I also invite you all to be in Bangladesh for the next ABC to see our beautiful Bangladesh bodily. This is our BSMMU, that is Bangladesh Medical University. Though we have a small land in our country, but there are largest mangrove forest and the longest beach in the world. Some scenario of the capital of Bangladesh. This is a nice scenario of our capital city. Heart of the Dhaka city, that is called Irshid. Yeah, this is in practice. This is Kosovaya, the longest sea beach of the world.
So we are proud to become the Bangladeshi citizen born.
Now, Dr. I request Dr. Saiful Islam to show the health status of Bangladesh.
Thank you, Professor Shamima Madam. I am showing our health-related achievement from DJC. So we know that we, after declaration of primary health care, 71, 78, then we have MDG target, then now we are LGG target as well as universal health coverage. So these are the achievement of health status done by Karolinska Institute in Sweden. So enjoy the video. Thank you.
Bangladesh is situated on the side of India, the eastern side of India. The borders are marked here with the yellow lines, west, north and east. It's a relatively small country when it comes to size, but when I show you the list of the population in the biggest countries, Bangladesh is on 7th place. It has 150 million people. It's bigger than Russia. And what is very special in Bangladesh is if I show you population density, that is number of people per square kilometer, then Bangladesh is on top of the big countries, 950 people per square kilometer. It's the most dense population of the big country. And I can show that in another way. Let me add a shape here to the map. Do you recognize it? This red area, it's the state of Florida in the United States. Bangladesh is smaller than Florida, but it has 150 million inhabitants. It is the same thing as if half the population of the United States would moved on to Florida. So population is really an issue in Bangladesh. And when I was a student, my teacher said, population growth is so fast in Bangladesh, 7 children per woman, and the religion and culture will make it impossible to stop it. That is what I heard. Were they right? Let me show you what happened. This map shows the situation in the world when I went to school. It is from 1962. And it shows here children per woman, 1, 2, and up to 7 or 8 children per woman. That is population size. Big families, high up and low families. And each bubble is a country. The size of the bubble is the population. And this axis down there, that axis shows child death rate. On this side here, it's low child death rate. Here is 10%, 20%, and 30%. And you can see that the countries were divided into 2 groups. We call this one developing countries. They have more than 5 children per woman, and they have a child mortality that went from 10% to higher. And those ones over there, we call the industrialized countries. They have less than 4 children per woman, and the child mortality was less than 10%. The color here shows the continent. These were the Africans. They were all in the developing country group. So were the Arab countries, and so were most of the Asian countries. Down there you can see Japan and Australia. And where is Bangladesh? Bangladesh is up here. So now we will look at only Bangladesh. What has happened? This is where Bangladesh was 1962. 6.7 children per woman, 24% of children died. I will fast forward and you will see what has happened. In the beginning, not much happened. But after the independence, there, 1972, then it started to fall. Can you see how family size is falling? Can you see how child mortality is falling? And family size is going further down. And when we come to 2003, Bangladesh is on 2.9 children per woman. And they have a child mortality which is down to 6.9% per woman. And this is nothing more than a miracle. Here is the rest of the world today. I can show the same development as I just showed for Bangladesh. I can show for all countries of the world. You see there are other developing countries that has also been relatively successful. They have repeated in part what Bangladesh did. And where did this happen? Well, Bangladesh is mainly a rural area. This was not an effect of people getting modern, moving to city. This happened. This big change happened in these rural villages when we zoom into rural Bangladesh. Look here, very typical villages. Here's the houses, the small river, the big river, the fields. It's an agricultural area. There are farmers. It's here in the villages that child health care has improved. There is now antibiotics, treatment of diarrhea, there is vaccines, there is access for families, for couples, to family planning, and women are more empowered now than they were in the past, you know. And there is better education, economy is growing. Bangladesh has improved, and this you can see has reflected itself into this change from big-sized families, 7 children, 25% dying, 3 children, only 7% dying. This change over 30 years, I consider as nothing less than a miracle.
Now I request, this video is shown up till 2003, but now development is more than 2018. Now I request Professor Taslima Mansoor to show university in Bangladesh.
Good evening. I am Professor Dr. Taslima Mansoor. I was the first woman dean of Dhaka University in 2002, and I released from my duties in 2017. So I have done about the university I am from, that is Dhaka University, that is established in 1921, and it is a pioneer university. Please enjoy the video. And this is our national anthem. I would love everyone if you can all stand up with us.
আমার
Thank you. Please be seated.
The next ABC will be organized by Bangladesh Bioethics Society. I'd like to say something about the Bangladesh Bioethics Society. In short, very short. Bangladesh Bioethics Society is established in 2009 under auspice of UNESCO and launched by our education minister. We organized, Bangladesh Bioethics Society organized the international conferences, and Bangladesh Bioethics Society organizes many conferences, workshops and the seminars. We invite the international bioethics expert. Bangladesh Bioethics Society has an official journal, Bangladesh Journal of Bioethics, which is indexed journal and which is operated from nationally, but it is very popular in the India, Pakistan, Nepal, and the Nigeria. It's also many European and American authors also submitted the article for the Bangladesh Bioethics Society. And Bangladesh Bioethics Society, which is affiliated with the UNESCO Asia Pacific School of Ethics, Global Ethics Observatory, Kennedy Institute of Ethics, and International Society of Bioethics, Spain, Bioethics.net, Switzerland, and Dickinson University, USA, National Institute of Health, USA, and the American University of Sovereign Nation, USA. And this picture is showing that we are organized that a program of National Institute of Health in Bangladesh. And the certificate of the National Institute of Health, which is handed over by the different programs. We have the road traffic program, because the road traffic accident is a very burning issue in Bangladesh. Innovative, 12 to 15% daily killed by the road traffic accident. So it is a really ethical issue, because these road traffic accidents are happening for the speed limit. If we control the speed limit, the death of a road traffic accident may reduce. So we address this part. With the help of the Bangladesh police, the BRTA, and we also our volunteer put on the sticker of the buses and the bus station. We have the youth leadership training program. We work with the youth, university level, undergraduate level. We have many programs. We have also program for the school and college students. We organized the art competition. This is one of the art competition prizes given, handed over to the students. And one of the members of Bangladesh Bioethics, which is elected the national in the national parliament. So you are seeing here. And we encourage our members to go to the study abroad. We have MU with the American University of Sovereign Nation. We sent students. These are the students passed the master's degree from the American University of Sovereign Nation, and these are the other group of passed the master's, and some passed the PhD as well. And we have Bangladesh Bioethics Society established a research ethics committee, which is approved by the FARCA, a sister concern of World Health Organization. We regularly organized the AGM, and we believe in the voting system, and everybody voted the Shemima and the Slima panel for the next year. And so, so I welcome everybody to participate ABC20 in Dhaka, Bangladesh. Professor. Where will be the venue? Actually, where will you go? So now I request Dr. Shakira. We think that the venue will be the ICDDRB. She is representing ICDDRB, and she will show some picture of the small video of ICDDRB.
Thank you, Appa. Usually we call Appa for the senior sisters and Bhai for the senior brothers. So I used to call you Bhai. Good afternoon. Welcome you to ICDGRB in this presentation. Usually I give a presentation on these topics, but here I have a very short time, so I'll try to skip some of the slides. ICDGRB, it's called, stands for International Center for Diarrheal Disease Research in Bangladesh. You will see peculiar B in the end. It's because ICDGRB was not named initially when it started back in 1960. It was called Cholera Research Laboratory because some of the developed country scientists, they came to Bangladesh. At that time it was called East Pakistan and during Pak Siato. So they came here because the diarrhea was very much common in this subcontinent. So they came here to do some research, but later on they found out many patients, they are coming to their research center, so they established a hospital to treat those patients. In this way, it grew up. So it's an international center or organization devoted to the health of population living in poverty in least developing countries. So it's our logo, and we started our journey with, as Seattle, as I said earlier, South Asia Treaty Organization. Up until now. So last year, I'm proud to say that we received the largest annual humanitarian awards in the world given by the USA. There's Ronald Hilton Foundation where they gave us $2 million and we are doing the humanitarian works with this prize money. Another achievement that he is the blue shirt, he is Dr. Tishti. He developed this bubble CPAP, which is those who are doctor or even those who are non-doctor, you could see when we are having breathing problem, we need oxygen. So usually it costs, the WHO recommended oxygen, the procedure, it costs more than $60. But he, Dr. Tishti from ICDGRB, he developed a method which is very simple. It's called bubble CPAP, positive pressure ventilation, and it needs just a bottle. It could be a water bottle like this and a saline pipe. And it costs less than $1, and it is saving, and we are now using it in our ICU. We have a hospital, so we are using it in our hospital and saving more than 75% of our patients are using it. And very recently, he went to Ethiopia, and 20 hospitals, they are interested to have this procedure in their ICU, in their hospital as well. So we are in that stage, in the interesting position. So as I said earlier, we started in 1960 as a cholera research laboratory. Then perhaps many of you know, or those who are not known to ICDGRB, we are proud to say the first successful clinical trials for oral inhalation solution, which now saving more than 50 million people's lives globally. So ICDGRB scientists were the pioneer And then in 1978, you just saw in some of the videos that we got our independence in 1971. So in 78, we were named at ICDDRB by the Bangladesh Ordinance, and they have given us 3 mandates to perform. First one is to do research, then training and education and services. We have 3 hospitals where we are providing services to especially to the poor people, and it's more than 2 million patients annually that we are serving, and it costs more than $4.5 million US. So this is totally free of cost. So our vision is to see, we want to see the more people survive and enjoy the healthy lives, and the mission is to solve key public health problems. And this is our values. Dr. Yati is here. She is one of our board members. So I'll show you at some point. So as of now, it is more than 4,000 staff that we have, and we encourage people to come to this profession. So 49% are female and 1.5% are intelligent staff. So BOT, Yati is one of the Board of Trustee members. ICDDRB is governed by Board of Trustee members, but she couldn't attend this time because she is here. So I'm happy to have Yati here. So this is the map of Bangladesh. You have shown it. This is one of you. This is our field site. And we have this international collaboration. So you could see the whole, you could say the whole world we are covering somewhere or other. And we are the public health leaders. They are, at some point, they are our directors, and at present we have John Clements. So if you go to ICDDRB next time in Bangladesh, you will meet John Clements at some point. And they are the NIH fellow or Fogarty fellows that they do their internship at ICDDRB. Later on, some of them are our great collaborators. So as I said earlier, we have 3 mandates. I'm skipping it. So what I wanted to tell you that this is a picture of. She is one of the professors. She was born and studied in Dhaka University. Dr. Khadre, the very left. The blue shalwar kameez. It's a cholera vaccine trial that we had in our in one of our slum areas in Dhaka, and he was our national professor. And so through this vaccine, what we are doing, you know, many of you are aware that we are having this Rohingyas, more than 8 million Rohingyas in our country. So we are giving cholera vaccines, more than 5 million, so we have already distributed. So in 2013, meeting the challenges of MGD and beyond, as you know that we finished our MDG back in 2015, and ICDDRB has had a huge contribution in MDG 4 and 5, which is reduced child mortality and maternal mortality. And this is a global response that wherever we get a call for cholera, and we respond to them, we send our team to them to treat them in their country. So I have some of the pictures of our auditorium where those who are lucky, you will be going in the next year. So its capacity is approximately more than 180. These are some of the pictures that it's 2 stories, so ground floor and the first floor. And some more pictures of auditorium. Some pictures of our hospital. We have 3 hospitals, as I mentioned earlier. One is in Dhaka, we call it Dhaka Hospital. One is in another field called Matlab, and another one is a small one in Mirpur. So these are some of the pictures. We are also doing some research, and you will be happy to hear that the neonatal tetanus, those who are doctors, who are ICDDRB, we started neonatal tetanus even before the independence of Bangladesh, and later on Bangladesh government has taken this vaccination, and same for family planning. So those who are interested, I have given I brought some annual report and some brochure, and I gave it to Daryl Mason. Those who are interested, you can have one, but it's not too many, 4 or 5. But you can go and browse our website. The website link is here. Some special guests. Some more. We are those who received the Global Health Award from the Bangladesh. We are the first to receive this. Some more awards. Ban Ki-moon, he was highly pleased with ICT Derby's MPT contribution. He wanted us to contribute more in the SDGs. They are our core donors. Thank you. If you allow me to show one video. Okay.
Now, which time, when you will come Bangladesh? This is the question. We propose 2 dates. One, the November, end of the November, that is the last week of November, that means November 26, 27, 28. And another day we are proposing that the December 3rd, 4th, 5th, which is suitable for you, most of you.
Which month?
Okay, we are proposing the student. Okay. So thank you very much.
There's an announcement from ABC19 because we will have a basic.
Can't hear you.
I will take my phone. This is clear. So I will.
We will have the best award of the oral presentation, and we will choose the 4 winners of the award. But since one of the winners, she will catch the flight. So sorry, we will invite Professor Miyako Takaji to present the award to her. So the winner is Abigail Del Prieto. So please come to the stage.
Hi, my name is Miyako Takagi and come from Tokyo, Japan. And till today, I'm immediate past present ABA. And now, from the 13th to till today, all the presentation was excellent. But unfortunately, I should choose only one, the best one. And the best one award of oral presentation is Abigail Del Prieto, and come from Philippines. Yeah. And oral presentation, as the title is oral presentation, is Research as a Therapeutic Journey, Harmonizing Mental Health Research in the Disaster Situations. Thank you.
Okay, so we will announce another 3 in the end of the conference. So let's have a break.
I think the cord came out.
Hello. Hello everybody, my name is Ravi. If you do not know me, I'm Ravi, I'm from Malaysia, from the National University of Malaysia, or we call it UKM, University Kebangsaan, Malaysia. Now, on the outset, let me thank DJ and his able team for organizing this magnificent conference. You have been a very good host. Thank you so much. I see that you have taken a lot of pain and careful planning in organizing the various the sessions as well as the visits. So I applaud you for this. I would also like to thank all the members who are here today, and those who voted for me, and those who did not vote for me. So, and I would also like to acknowledge my two contenders and very good friend of mine, Shamima from Bangladesh, and also Selvanayagam, who I've interacted over the last 1 decade. So I never saw them as contenders, but as more well-wishers, as borrowing Selvanayagam's word. And I would like to wish Shamima as well all the best for her organizing the next year's ABC conference in Dhaka. Actually I started the conversation. Before I go on, I would like to also acknowledge Professor Darul Mesa for his contribution to the bioethics fraternity in the Asia Pacific. So now the new term is Indo-Pacific, right? Well, I need to say something about Darul Mesa. I first met Darul Mesa in my office when I was working for the Ministry of Science. I was sitting there and I was brought, he came and we met, that was the first interaction, and he was assisting the ministry at that time to form the Malaysian Bioethics Council. That was my first interaction. And later he invited me to UNESCO, and I presented a paper on energy security. That is how the collaboration started, and now it has been more than 10 years. So when I moved to the academia, I brought that contact with me, and I've been interacting with many of you over the years. And it has been a lot of pleasure. It has been a pleasure. I have listened attentively as well to the various comments and suggestions made throughout the session, this 3-day session, as well as our eminent scholars in the front row just now. Some of the issues, some of the concerns are new and something that we need to look at. The other points mentioned has been mentioned several times, over the years. I'm sure I will work with my board in discussing this further and try to look at how we can improve the whole discourse of bioethics in this part of the world. I also mentioned in my earlier speech 2 days back that there are certain trajectories that perhaps that we can look at. One of it was echoed by our good professor from Indonesia, is in the area of disaster ethics. Because as you see now, the last decade we have experienced so many disasters, all right? So the issues of disaster research and ethics are important to my mind and would serve a particular purpose in order for us to address a real life issue There are also many other issues that I mentioned. I have taken down a lot of notes. I will look at this, I will study this, and I will also talk with all the other board members on initiating certain projects in the region. University Gajah Mada has been very active in the area of medical humanities and bioethics. The late Umar Jenny was among the first person I met in Bangkok, and who I interacted with, and he gave the insight on Indonesian bioethics. At that time he was with LIPI. There are several areas on education, on governance, perhaps on resources, on the management of resources, and these are the few areas that I will look at. The other area is the idea of getting more students to attend, which I rightfully so, that we have seen a diminishing trend of people attending the ABC. Perhaps it's because of funding opportunities. In our own universities, I think we need to look at this model of self-funding. Right? Some of us here are traveled with grants, some of us need to have support. But I think early in the semester, early in the year, we need to plan for some kind of allocation. Right? We need to source our own allocation. That will enable us to travel. I think effectively we need to do that because we need to look at a more self-funding model for bioethics. And of course, some countries will be able to provide us more. Some countries will not be able to provide us more. But again, there must be a fallback position. Some kind of earlier planning must be done for this. The other one is to promote visibility. I think some of you have echoed this. Visibility is important, and some of you have also suggested that we need to have some kind of declaration or resolution at the end of each conference. Well, this has to be deliberated. I know that sometimes, we have a resolution or declaration, what we do with it. The question is, are we eminent enough to have that resolution? Or where are we going to submit the resolution to? I remember some years ago I was in Salzburg, and there were a lot of scholars from all over the world who came, and they wanted to inform or rather tell China how to behave. Okay? So we sat there for a week discussing about how China should behave, and we came up with a kind of suggestions, and that was handed to the government of China, but nothing came out of it as well. Right? So I think we need to really look at it. The other one, as DJ has mentioned, is trajectory. What is the focus? What are the areas that we want to move towards? It can be towards community engagement, it can be towards research-based discovery of new ideas, new frontiers. So there are a lot of leaders in this area. Certain university or certain individuals can take charge and probably get the others. One of the best things I've experienced about my slightly more than a decade engagement with ABA is an opportunity to interact. And it's not so much of structure. Thanks to Daryl, we are all friends. There is not much of rigidity in the whole system that enables us to be more friendlier and freer. Okay. So I think that is my so-called presidential message for all of you today. And I would also like again to thank everybody for coming. I would like to thank the new members of the board. Shamima is back in the board as the Vice President of Bangladesh, and my colleague from Malaysia, Latifa, Professor Latifa is here, who will be taking over the portfolio of VP for Malaysia. And I would like to wish you all the best. and have a safe journey back home. Oh, yeah, we still have another 1 more day though. Thank you.
People would like a photograph together.
Photograph together. Okay. Then how about everybody move, sit down here, or you want to go on the stage?
On the stage. Yes. Some will be sitting here and others will be there.
Okay, so. Okay.
Okay.
All right, everybody